And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, a.k.a. Ben Rivers World. Today, for episode 25, we have a very humble guest, the founder of Hope for the Day and Sip of Hope, Johnny Boucher. Hope for the Day is a nonprofit organization that achieves proactive suicide prevention through outreach and mental health education. Hope for the Day has been up and running for several years, affecting lives all over the world, and it all starts with the conversation. I dive in deep with Johnny to discuss why he started this nonprofit, how they are able to be so successful by taking a non-traditional approach at the way they run and operate Hope for the Day, such as being the only nonprofit to ever give speeches at Warped Tour for the past 4 or 5 years in a row, which is pretty wild. We talk about that and so much more. Johnny is even about to launch Sip of Hope with his friends Dark Matter Coffee, which is a coffee shop located in Chicago, and 100% of the proceeds support proactive suicide prevention and mental health education. That is very fucking cool. As a person who has been directly affected by suicide, I support Johnny's mission and am happy for people like him to exist in this world. If you want to get involved in any way with Hope for the Day or need someone to talk to, search Hope for the Day and talk to Johnny and his team. They're doing some amazing shit. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, you're probably wondering, what does Black with No Cream stand for? Black with No Cream is a private content creator group fueled by caffeine, or at least I take my coffee Black with No Cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be a part of our community. We are a private group on Facebook open to creators of all kinds, aka if you make videos, if you're a photographer, if you do marketing, if you own a nonprofit, management, editing, dancing, etc., 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 all creators are welcomed. Our private group has been growing rapidly. We have a shit ton of members working together by sharing content, asking for feedback, passing tips and tricks along to one another with the goal of pushing each other to become the best motherfucking content creators on earth. And you can join our group if you want to by going to BWNC.com/join. We would love to fucking have you. Please join. If you're interested in supporting Black with No Cream, please go to BWNC.com/merch. We got hats, stickers, pins, shirts, all that shit. It's available in the store. I appreciate anyone who supports by buying merch. And if you don't got the funds, I totally get it. There's a way you can support by just sharing the link to the podcast. YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, whatever you want. Share it with one person. That'd be sweet. And leave a review and subscribe and do all that shit. All right, that's it. Enjoy the work week. Keep creating. Make sure to tune in every single Sunday for a new Black with No Cream episode. And without further ado, I bring to you my interview with Johnny and the most epic podcast intro ever created right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to...
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. All right, we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. This is how I start my podcast. I just start talking. I didn't give you any warning.
It's okay.
Johnny Boucher is in the building today. Hope for the Day. You also are working on something called Sip of Hope, which we'll talk about in a second. But you are a founder, CEO.
Yes.
Is that what I would call it?
I mean, glorified titles, yes. I say I give a shit and I pay the bills.
Okay, that works.
You know?
So this guy came up with an idea and it's working. And I think
Yeah.
we met through a friend who is your brother.
Yes.
And he actually just hit me up to try to give me some of the coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, hey man, I got some coffee. My brother does this thing, and it's like a suicide prevention group that's taking a different approach. And he told me about it, and I looked at it, and right away it just screamed creativity to me. And I thought it was very interesting that it was a suicide prevention thing that's also collaborating with coffee. And so I was like, yeah, yo, Sam, send me an email, please.
Yeah.
'Cause I would love to connect. I was like, I don't need the beans. I just want to see what's going on.
Oh, okay.
I would like the beans, though.
You ain't gonna get no beans now.
Fuck.
You said it.
But anyway, we talked on the phone for a little bit, and right away, it clicked for me that what you're doing, you're very, very passionate about it, and I thought that the story would be interesting to share your story along with what your guys' goal as a unit is, but kind of give us a little bit of a background of what Hope for the Day is.
Well, so at the bare bones, we are a proactive suicide prevention and mental health education charity. Reason we say proactive is because really our goal is to break the silence around mental health, however we need to do so, because then we know that immediately raises the visibility of the resources. We become the white elephant in the room. We're like, it's okay not to be okay. And we're like, fuck yeah, they said it. But it's like we break that silence, we raise the visibility, and then we act as that bridge to either further education or more resources, because there's a lot of amazing resources around the world. But one of the biggest issues is the fact that we assume people who are dealing with anything are going to go get that help. We neglect our health all the time, and when we're talking about something that's tabooed as mental health, no one wants to fucking talk about it.
True.
So for us, it's like, hey, how do we break the silence? How do we get people talking? Because I started this organization out of an idea, and it was a proven fact that the more I talked about it, more other people wanted to talk about it. And then more people wanted to share their story of how they were impacted. And then more people wanted to say, I'm fucking going through some shit right now. Can I get some help? So it's like, you think about like what Logic has just done with the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's like, oh, that's cool, man. I've been printing this shit on flyers for like 7 years now, and I was just handing them out at hardcore shows, because I've lost a lot of people, 15 people to suicide. And Mike Scanlon, he was my boss, because I used to work in the music industry. I was a concert promoter starting at the age of 13, punk rock, hardcore shows, Chicago. And then my friend Shane was like, yo, we need someone to kind of be like a minion in this office, and we're doing, these Christian music festivals, and I know you're not really religious, neither am I. We're both hardcore dudes, and like it's still like it's like serving our purpose of bringing a community together, but just on a different wavelength. And I was like, all right, cool,
Yeah.
And I went to go work with him and Mike, and we were a unit. We were we were a 3-man team doing 85 shows in clubs, from House of Blues to Aragon Size, and then also doing 15 festivals around the country.
Goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, we were busy, and I was only 19 when this shit was going down, and I was also going to school in Chicago at Columbia, and I felt like with anything in education, like you get what you put into it, and my college experience, I think, was really different because I didn't have like, well, this is what I want to do. I was like, yo, I might not be here next week because I got to go do this festival and I got to do this build out. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about, But working with Mike was amazing. And, I graduated in 2009. I go on like the sabbatical, and I go out on over to Europe and the UK, 42 days. And I remember when I landed in London Heathrow, they're like, what's your itinerary? I was like, I fly home from Spain in 42 days. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know yet, and I come back from like
wait, you went out there for, what was it for?
It was just a sabbatical. I graduated college.
You just took a trip?
And I was just like, I'm going to go do this, and I saved some money, and I blew it, and I had a fucking great time. I learned a lot. I had to struggle. I had to survive. I couldn't call home and have my parents, drop off lunch or some shit, for me.
Yeah.
Like, I had to go do it, and it was a lot of fun. I took my friend out there, and it opened my eyes to just like the world, that we live in and how important it is. And I came back, and I was working still with Mike, and I was doing some side gigs. I was doing artist management now, and all of a sudden I get a phone call. My brother and I are down in Portezuelo, Mexico, trying to like live this like entourage lifestyle, and we're trying to make tequila. And I get this sidebar,
yeah,
very fun.
I like that.
But like we were there, and I get this phone call, and it was Shane, and he goes, yo, man, Mike jumped off his 5th floor balcony last night.
Damn.
And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this is like the guy. He had everything, man. I used to drive his black Range Rover down to school. People thought it was mine, so it was really funny. Like, I remember girls in Chicago, like, hollering at me and waving and shit. And I was like,
who's that guy?
I was like, yeah, right. Like, I always was like terrified I was going to smash it into something. So I was like, I'm going to get it into his garage. But, Mike showed me a lot. And I also showed him a lot too, because I called him out on a lot of his vices. And I just didn't know how bad they were. I didn't know they were going to take him. He was an alcohol abuser. He was flying always on some cocaine. And like, I tried to help him, And but it opened my eyes, because it's like what we talk about, when we think about people like Robin Williams or, Chester Bennington or Chris Cornell, like these people who have quote unquote everything. They are so alone that they take their life, and like that was Mike. His nickname was the mayor of Old Town.
Damn.
So like he was just this dude that was unstoppable. And I to say it best, I always said, man, Mike built his own roller coaster and one day just wanted to get the fuck off.
Crazy.
And it was real sad because like what came out of it, like debt and all this stuff that you just never thought. And it's like, you know, those are all insecurities. And, you know, it really opened my eyes. And that same week that I lost Mike, my friend Kelly was, she died from cancer. So like, I'm going through this thing and I'm like, just lost 2 people. My ex was trying to get back in my life. And like, you know, it just wasn't a healthy thing. So I was really like internalizing like what was going on in my own life. And I was like, how the fuck do I make this better? You know, like, what do I do with my passion? What do I do with my life? You know, because I'm sitting here and I'm sitting at 2 caskets going, what if that was me? You know, and if you look back and you go, I haven't done anything yet, like, what the fuck can I do? So I started thinking about, like, how could I take my passion for music? How can I take my passion for the arts? How could I take my passion for people, just bringing people together, and really, really dial in on something that people can be a part of? I had one big issue for working for other people.
Yes.
They neglect who you are and the work that you do. And when they don't listen to you, you get pissed, right? So like, I remember I sat down with my old man and I was like, yo, I'm going to start this charity. In fact, I already, you know, went through the process online for the state of Illinois, but now I need to raise like $1,200 to get this 501c3 status. But I said, I'm going to dedicate everything. I'm going to stop doing everything. I'm going to stop working in the music industry, only to come back in this different way. Because I said that was the last day that I worked for people. I wanted to come and work with people.
And how old were you at this time?
This time, you know, I'm 20.
College?
I'm out of college. I'm 24, and you know, I'm 32 now.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do I need to do to get this whole thing going? And it took some time. You know, I bought Nonprofits for Dummies. Shout out to whoever wrote that book.
The book world?
Yo, for real, man. I was like, I felt dumb picking that book up, but I was like, fuck it. I'll read it. And, you know, I knew about charities and I wanted to do something different, but I also was like, man, this is an opportunity to do this shit like the right way. Because what I had also known from charities was just the non-transparent, you know, fund, you know, misusages that people find out after the fact, you know, and like, for me, I was like, you know, no one's talking about mental health right now, you know, and traditionally they're both housed in, you know, mental health and suicide prevention are housed in different organizations. I was like, listen, like, how do we learn from this, like this tragedy, and turn it into opportunity?
Right.
And I don't know, I was just like, well, fuck it, here we go. And I just started going. I started joining boards. I started reading more. I started going through like tax forms to try and figure out what the fuck all this shit meant, because I was like, if I'm going to ask people to be honest about their mental health, the most terrifying thing in the world, I want to be honest as a charity so I can get people to not only feel that they can be a part of it, but they'll want to support it, because mental health in general is completely, it's the lowest funded disease out there, yet it impacts everybody because we have a fucking brain. Wow, what a thought. You know, we know how to get in front of this. But at the same time, it's like, you know, we're up against a lot of battles, and now as we, you know, wake up every single day and there's some new tragedy that's happened here in this country or in this world, now people are like, oh, it's a mental health issue.
Sure.
It's like, motherfucker, like, yo, it's more than that. But I was like, if I'm going to do this right, I'm going to invite people to break the silence. I'm going to give them the permission to say, fuck stigma. I'm going to give them the opportunity to say, I deserve better. And if it means that I got to sacrifice some things in my own life, then like, let's do it. Cause like, I don't know. I remind myself every day that I'm going to die. You know, my friend Jesse Bruss, you know, sends me these things, says, remember your death. And it's like, damn, that's hard. Cause like we could either be scared to death, but if we're scared to death, then we have to ask ourselves, what the fuck are we living for? Like, what's driving us to create that?
Right.
You know? And for me, I was like, I don't know anything about running a nonprofit. All I know is I got access. I don't give a shit about asking people for help. And I'm not doing this for me. And that's like one of the things that you often see is like a charity or a foundation is driven by this one person and it lives and dies by that one person. Where that's why I said I give a shit and pay the bills.
Right.
Like, there's no hierarchy. Like,
you're just contributing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but it's like, how do we do that? And I narrowed it down. We got to meet people where they're at and not where we expect them to be. And we need to invite them to be a part of the issue, but they're only going to properly know what the issue is if you educate them properly.
Right, 100%.
And, I look at things like, the Holocaust. I grew up in a heavily Jewish populated area in, northwest suburbs of Chicago. Very sensitive subject. Yeah, fucking yeah, it is. Yeah, a bunch of people died and it sucked. But, I was taught in maybe, 2 pages of a history book. I go backpack in 2009. I'm like, holy fuck. This shit was wild. Hold on.
The real experience.
Yeah, the real experience. Go to Birkenau and see all that shit, man. And it's I'll never forget seeing the piles of hair, women's hair, or the stacks of shoes, children's shoes, all this shit. It made it real.
Yeah.
It humanized it.
Right.
To the point where I said, this is not something that is just offensive to the Jewish community. This is offensive to humanity.
Right.
How the fuck did we allow this thing to happen? Especially back in the day when we didn't have the technology to do what we're doing today.
Yeah.
It's about that. But we're never going to learn because we still have genocide going on today. We still have these issues, but we're not talking about them in a way that people are talking about it every single day. And right now, if you think about it, mental health is in the same spotlight that cancer, HIV once were, a couple decades ago when people were like, I'm fucking sick and tired of losing my friends and family. Where's the answers? And we still don't have the answers, but that shit's heavily funded. That is those are great opportunities to save lives in the future. That's fine and dandy, man. But we can't sit around and wait for a cure about talking about our mental health.
Right.
So for us, we're like, how do we do this? And it's by meeting people where they're at.
I like that a lot. You could have easily had lost Mike and decided to go and work for a nonprofit and help that and grow that. Right. So what was it for you? Was it just simply that there wasn't a nonprofit that existed at the time that met your theory on it? You wanted to merge two general ideas and bring them together and fold them into one, right?
Yeah. What I was really focusing on was, how do we take the things that make us happy and remind us every day, the little things? How do we own in that? And that's why, Hope for the Day, everyone's like, well, what does the name of the organization really mean? I'm like, it's your everyday things. These are your tools.
Right.
Because we can either, be prepared to brave a storm, or we can equip ourselves to get through the storm.
Sure.
And continue on doing that. And that's the simplicity of just education and knowing it. So our work exists in 2 pillars, outreach and education. So outreach is breaking the silence, however the fuck. And education is throwing some shit to, back that up. Mm-hmm. But it's not being in this way that's if you're depressed, call this number. I'm trying to figure out,
that makes me depressed.
Right, exactly. But that's all we got right now is this reactive bullshit. Yeah. It's another celebrity dies, call this hotline number. And it's great. And I mean, that's fantastic, but we got to stop waiting for one person who impacted millions to take their lives when every day here in America, 121 people are taking their lives. The motherfuckers who maybe don't have an Instagram following of a couple million people who have just lived their lives every single day. And one day they just said, fuck it, I'm over this shit. And they didn't know that they were maybe suffering from depression. Maybe they didn't know that it was genetically embedded in their family tree, and they didn't know that, holy shit, Aunt Betty was fucking crazy. No, she was actually bipolar, and she, these things. But we are also talking about having to work against the fact that the past, since the beginning of time, it was man up, don't talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
Don't, that's that shit. That's the stigma that we're fighting. So it's generational, we are grateful that we get put in these opportunities sometimes where there's some older demographic, and I'm like, we'll go work with a church. If you support the LGBTQ community, I'll fuck with you. If you don't, I don't want to fuck with you.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here. You're not doing your jobs.
Yeah.
But for me, it's I want to go into these situations and you get to see, we work with a church just south of Milwaukee, and a congregation maybe of 900 people. And I went in there and I gave a Hope for the Day speech.
Right.
And I started off with saying, this is a conversation about this community, ourselves. This is not a conversation about God. And I also pulled out the little, weekly, brief, and in the back, the prayer list. I went through it, and it was all physical, shit. I was like, what about the mental health stuff? Like, you're lying if you're saying that there's no one in here having a bad fucking day, and it's a Sunday morning, and you're in a place where you're supposed to have something to look forward to.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But it's like, how are you going to be a community that's going to be talking about this shit and truly support it if we don't talk about it in the brass tacks that it really is? And, it's just been mind-boggling because there was a lady who, she came up to us and she did our mental health first aid training, which was one of our education programs. And she comes up and she's like, I fundraised back in the day to get this church open. And I was like, oh, my God. She's like,
oh, gee.
Yeah. And in my 92 years of being on this earth, no one said anything like you've said here. And thank you. And I was just like...
Crazy.
I was like, all right. And I was like, man, I think I swore in front of them all too. But you know what? It's like, I don't give a shit, man. Like if we walk around in pins and needles and try and be like, I'm going to cater you, we're not going to get anything done.
No.
So for us, I'm just like, yo.
Wow.
If we're going to use this, I always say, I'm not a Trump fan and I'm not trying to build no walls. I'm trying to build a longer table so everyone has a seat at that table. How do you do that? You invite people to it. And that's why, we decided to go down this road with our good friends Dark Matter Coffee and started to utilize their platform and take a cup of coffee and have it be a conversation icebreaker every single day, just by saying, oh, we're being proactive about mental health.
Which is amazing because even if you just said 100, was it 122? Is it
121?
121 people take their lives every day. Yeah. And even if one cup of coffee, and we're going to explain more of what this is, but... Even if just one person has that conversation in that day, that's 120.
And it's however that is. That's why we decided to get in bed with Live Nation in the Vans Warped Tour 5 years ago and go all in. And we didn't have funding to go do outreach like this, but I was like, let me go out and get in front of 500,000 kids on a fucking shoestring budget and let's just see what we can do. And I almost didn't even make the phone call to Kevin when he was like, yeah, come out. I want to talk to you about the budget and everything. And I was like shivering in my office. I was like, oh my God, we don't have this money, But I was like, well, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's figure out how much money it is. And let's say yes. So we commit ourselves right here and right now. And we'll get this shit done. And that's how our motto's always been action before dollar.
Yeah.
I don't think that we necessarily focus as much time as an organization that requires to constantly be fundraising because we're so fucking busy doing the work. My squad is going absolutely hard in the paint when it comes to this shit. We bump and grind all the time this stuff because it's so important because we all live by this theory too that if it's not us, who's going to do this like this? Who's going to be willing to sacrifice things like donor dollars, grant opportunities, shit like that to actually do the work that you want to do.
Right.
And be authentic about it and genuine and not have someone come in and say, so we're going to give you a grant, but we're going to change this from black with no cream to cream and sugar in your coffee. And then you go, well,
okay.
No, it's called black with no cream, but man, I really want, all right,
yeah.
Cream and sugar.
That's the label.
Yeah, exactly. Dog. So then all of a sudden you start serving a mission that is half-assed.
Yeah.
Or you're not being able to do it how you want to do it. And it's for us, we would not have been there and been able to start doing this if I wasn't fucking crazy. And I was like, yeah, we're going to do this, because
how much, so if you don't mind me asking, how much does it cost to go a little deeper in that, you're going on Warped Tour for the last 5 years. You've been there every summer.
Every summer,
you have a camp on tour, right?
Yeah.
Every day.
We have a 10x20 activation. It's resources, education, and opportunities to get more involved. Whether that's signing up for our education trainings, whether it's becoming more active as who we call an agent of impact. It's not I'm not really into volunteers. I looked at the terminology, of what charities are, and I think that there's some things that if we flipped the name on it, donate. What if it was invest? What if it from volunteer it was team member or agent of impact? Fuck yeah, make it fun, make it something,
dope.
But it's it's also a place for if you're having a fucking horrible day, you can come talk to someone. And this idea spread that year also to Europe and the UK. That fall, I greenlit going out on a tour called Never Say Die with a bunch of hardcore bands, and I was like, we're going to go do this. And we did it, and it was like fucking sick. So I was like, all right, cool. And I remember my board of directors asking, why are we going over to Europe and the UK? I said, I don't know. I'll tell you in the future why we're here. But it's like now with how how we're being proactive on this conversation about mental health, like it's cool to be like, well, we've been here in, waiting for this opportunity, because with all the new opportunities coming out, people are going, so what are we going to do? How are we going to reach these people? And it's like, listen, motherfuckers, this is how we've been doing it, and this is how it works. You have to go in front of these people, but you have to do it in a way that doesn't punish them for what they're going through.
Right.
So, when I got out on Warped Tour the very first day in 2014, I'm looking around and I go, God, there's 8 stages here, and I got friends on all of them. I'm going to speak. Lo and behold, I did not know that Hope for the Day is the only nonprofit in fucking Warped Tour history to speak from stage. And then after this last, 2018 tour with them, we're going to be at 1,200 speeches,
So is it just you speaking, or your squad is?
Nah, me, man. I'm out there. I'm sucking down throat coat on days where you can't, land planes in fucking Phoenix, man. I'm out there, sucking this dusty ass, shit in my throat, and but I do it because we work with these bands just like we work with brands and companies to do this, and we do it the right way. It's low hanging fruit shit. It's you got a 30-minute set. Give me the first minute and a half. You need me to cut this down to 45 seconds? I'll do that. But I'll turn this into a hype fest. You'll have motherfuckers chanting whoever band is coming, out. Because I get that. Because what I want to do is I want to get people excited. I come out here, some sad, somber shit. Okay, and get ready for your next. Fuck no, man. It's like, when this shit's done, go to that fucking tent and do what you need to do.
Right.
Help yourself. Help someone who might not be here today, but we're in this together, and we need to understand that it can't just happen when Hope for the Day is standing in front of you. We need to do the trainer model on mental health, and that's what we're doing. But we're inviting people, so it's like whether it's through coffee, merchandise. People are like, oh, so you guys just sell shirts. I'm like, no, actually, we put messaging on clothing because if people are scared to talk about it, yet they wear it, and someone sees it, that might save a life. And if you tell me no, I'm going to tell you go fuck yourself.
Right, 100%.
But it's like people aren't thinking that way.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
like, oh, well, in charities they don't know how to brand themselves either. We do. We understand how to do that because we're not a charity at the end of the day. We're a lifestyle brand.
Dog, that's crazy to think this because how long? I don't know what the suicide prevention help number is. 1-800 some numbers.
1-800-273-TALK.
273-TALK. Okay.
I've
never seen that printed on a Gildan t-shirt.
Yeah.
I've never seen it printed ever on a shirt. No one's walking around with that. I've seen Hope for the Day.
Yeah.
I've seen your shirt today. So
Yeah.
that's one time I've seen this, and that number is, I've heard about that number way more than I've ever heard about your brand.
Yeah.
So it's already making an impact. When I was walking here to meet you here, you were sitting outside my office, and I could spot your fucking logo from a mile away.
Right. And it's like, everyone's like, oh, I love Have Hope. I'm like, no, Have Hope's what we tell you to do. And we remind you because it's okay not to be okay. Very simple, And I love getting in a debate with people like, well, isn't it? It's okay to not be okay? No, bro. It's okay not to be okay. Say it with me. And say it with me.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to win this one.
No.
You're not going to win this one. But when I have executives going, that shit's brilliant. And I'm like, we got the mark on it too.
Yeah.
How do we work together, right? So it's like now we're able to put that slogan and that messaging on anything. I mean, we're releasing beers. We are working with liquor companies because I'm not going to point the finger, man. We got to point the finger back at ourselves. We got to give way with this. Well, we got to live in society where someone else is to blame. No, motherfucker, it is us. Gun control. You want to talk about gun control? That's a mental health issue. Now we can go. It's a stemming, issue that we could talk about. But at the end of the day, gun violence, abuse, violence, substance abuse, all this shit is from something that happens inside, and we don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Everyone can talk shit on Chief Keef, right?
Right.
That kid represents Chicago more than Chance the Rapper.
You think so?
In a way, because Chance is an amazing person. He does amazing things. He has a beautiful voice, but he represents a demographic where when you think about Chance versus Chief Keef is like every fucking kid on the South and West Side who at one point in time was let down, and they got this chip on their shoulder, and they get fucking angry and they get negative about it. You think that breeds PMA? Fuck no, man. That breeds fucking hatred. That breeds the idea that you need to be part of things like gangs and shit.
Right.
So where Chance is the voice of Chicago, Chief Keef represents who those kids really are.
The kids that turn to drill shit and like need to be in that.
Right, or only know that stuff. Where Chance has said, no, you ain't got to do that, and it's not that I'm saying like talking shit on Chance. I think what he does is amazing. I think what even people like Kanye does, even though some of the shit he does, you're like, what the fuck? But in reality, it's like we need to realize that at one point in time, we all were impacted with some shit, and we held on to that. And we didn't give ourselves that grace. We carried that shit with us, and we kept carrying that shit with us. And it's better to like say, hey, get that shit off your chest, talk about it, because the more you talk about it, we're gonna find similarities on the experiences that we've gotten through. We've gone through life, or maybe it's, oh fuck, I'm not alone in this situation with whatever it is, and that's how you can relate to people who lose kids to gun violence, family members to gun violence. It's the same shit that we're seeing. Why people are like when they lose someone from suicide. Right. It's a break in this conversation that we've needed to have as a society for so long, because whether it's saving a kid from being active in a gang and having that hard talk, or having that hard talk and saying, as a father or as a peer or someone who is an influencer, has the ability to come out and talk about their mental health in a way that doesn't make them look at all different from you who's struggling, you're gonna have shit really happen. But going out and saying, put the guns down and stuff like that is just, it's a flash in pan. And that's the issue with society, is that we just go, oh, here's a Band-Aid, and we run with it. And then we're like, that was cool. Like, we didn't give a shit about that anymore. Like, we're on to some new shit. Where for us, our job is to create situations where on the good days and the bad days, we're talking about mental health and inviting everyone to do it. So it's like anyone who has a platform can be a part of Hope for the Day. Like I said, I started it, I give a shit, and I pay the bills. This is not about me, it's about we. It's about us. And shout out to WeWork. We're in WeWork. But it's just so important that we think about that, because if you go into it with that mentality of, hey, I'm going to hit up every brand and be like, we should work together, I'm going to do the same thing for every motherfucker that is like a competitor of Hope for the Days in the mental health world. I'd be like, no, we should work together. Right. Why has it got to be this crap, man? Like, this ain't no West Side Story knife fight, man. Yeah. Like, over $1? Like, we're going to scrap out that? And that's why when it comes to the branding.
Does that happen a lot? Is it hard to pair nonprofits with nonprofits?
It's hard to see them work together a lot if it's going after, like, if it's going after funding or anything like that. Like, there's these really crucial conversations, unfortunately, have to happen, right? But if we allow funding to be the one thing that is the start of that conversation, and there's no opportunity there, then we have to figure it out, or we have to trash the idea. Right. But for us, we're like, wait, how do we use our resources to all get to this one end goal, this one place, and really, really be happy about working together. Mm-hmm. And that's what I saw, going back to when I first started the organization and I was joining boards and I was just learning everything, I was SWOT analyzing everything. And I was going, what are you guys doing good? What are you doing bad? What are opportunities? And then what are some shit that we could be doing that you're not doing, and the facilitating that conversation. And honestly, it was crazy, because the more I started to push, more people actually resonated with that. And we're like, oh, man, we actually really do like what Hope for the Day is doing. And now we have some of the bigwigs coming to us and saying, hey, can we work together? And it's like, that's great, but it's only going to be as good as we make it. And that means that, like, we need to make whatever we're going to do authentic and about the people we're serving and not about the organization. That's why our logo is the smallest thing on our shit. It's like, it's not about the organization. It's about the
Message.
belief, you know?
Yeah,
and like we take a lot of influence from brands like Coca-Cola. And just seeing how do they take creativity and turn it into a tangible experience with or without sipping a Coca-Cola. I mean, when you got like 94% of the world like understands what that logo is, they see it and they taste it all of a sudden.
Right.
Whether you like it or not, that's what happens. And then you take the same model of what did they do? They took one product, they took one message, and they started distributing it everywhere. And then they empowered local people, to distribute it locally. And they created a system that not only provided something that is looked at as a treat or a specialty item, it's also something that like provided people jobs. And,
right.
and it's that is like what we're supposed to do. It's like evangelizing people the most proactive way, but doing it in a way that people can be like, I'm part of this, whether I've been impacted in a small amount or I've been, I've lost 15 people like I have, to suicide. There's a lot of opportunity there, just to bring everyone to the table and say, how can we work together? Because this is the end result.
Right.
We don't want people to kill themselves anymore.
Yeah, no shit.
And we don't want it so bad. We want people to educate themselves before killing yourself is even an option.
Yeah. Damn. You fucking got a lot of good shit to talk about.
I know.
I'm not even saying you drink your coffee. What I wanted to bring up, what I thought was interesting, you said earlier, is like, or to define it, I guess, is when you say people who have a platform talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to help. And
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because it's like, you don't have, people define platforms as like, I'm a famous person. Yo, your platform is if you made one friend in junior high,
Right.
talk to that one friend.
Right,
or
right.
if you have 100 people that follow you on Instagram, or you have a Facebook group of like whatever, 30 people.
Toss it out there.
Yeah, that's it. Platforms don't have to be identified as like you're a famous person.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like everyone can carry weight.
has, yeah, exactly. Whether it's like the mom and pop bakery on Main Street, in Iowa, they have a platform there where they can do that. We saw that actually in November. We teamed up with this beautiful lady, Karen Maloney, who is unfortunately she's facing incurable cancer basically.
Fuck.
And she's not stopping though, because a couple years ago she had an employee, Jonathan, take his life, and she wanted to do something about it. So she started using her platform because she owned a couple Dairy Queen restaurants and just started, hey, how do I turn this into it? So come November, we worked with her and we worked with the city of Naperville to kind of get this resolution made for November 12th to be Karen Maloney Day. And it was funny because we had like the local news crew there. It was Bears-Packers game, and it's like no one gave a shit about this. We had 400 people under this tent in piss-pouring rain eating dilly bar, ice cream, sandwiches and shit like that, and just pile driving sugar into our bodies. And we raised $21,000 doing it.
God damn.
And it's just like we used her platform to not only educate people, but also support what's going on.
Right.
And that's the simplicity of it. So whatever your platform is, whether you're the fucking the cook in your high school, or you're a big fuck off CEO or something like that, like you're an influencer, if you have a platform, use it for good, man.
Right.
I think TMZ showed us one thing, that we should not put people on pedestals that are not going to do things that are worthy of being on a pedestal.
Right.
But we live in a society that we like clickbait, we want to see, unfortunately, Miley Cyrus' Snatch for the 20th time or some shit like that, it's like,
right.
But it's like we got to take the good at the bad. And it's like, I think that, with anyone who has a platform socially, you can do so much. If you have a platform locally, brick and mortar style, you can do so much. And that's why we look at, so we have our agents of impact, and then we have our partners in prevention. And our partners in prevention are people like Live Nation, Ticketmaster, Dark Matter Coffee, a bajillion amazing breweries. Shout out to all the Chicago breweries. We do things so different because I go in and I say, I want to work with you guys internally and externally. because internally we can't be putting out this message if it's just going to be a flash in the pan. You know, this is not the USO that you hit up and you're like, hey, I want to go serve my troops for 3 fucking days, and I'm going to go do this because I have a new album coming out.
Right.
You know, like I don't like that shit. I want stuff that's going to actually be sustainable. So I say, hey, how do we do this, and how do we invite everyone to the party? You know, something like May is Mental Health Month and September is Suicide Prevention Month. We lock in partners to donate $1 of whatever the fuck they do to Hope for the Day for the entire month of May, and you raise a couple $1,000s here, a couple $1,000s here, a couple $1,000s here, but you allow everyone to push the same universal linear message, and you get to have them all be like, cool, we're using we sell the most gangster burgers in Chicago, you know, Kuma's Corner. They do $1 per burger. Dope. They'll do $1 per certain pints, you know. We'll work with a brewery and be like, hey, let's release a beer. Let's get it out to all your you know, all the people that put your shit on tap. And let's get them also raising money for Hope for the Day by asking them to donate $1 of each pint sold, you know, like. People don't think that way. And it's like, that's the sacrifice. Like, if you want to go from black with no cream to cream and sugar with some coffee, like, you're going to have to make some sacrifice, where I go, no, fuck that. I'm going to invite everybody. I like knowing that we have no religious agenda. We are here for the people. And that means that people who are believers, more than welcome to come hang out. People who are fucking, you know, believe in Satan, come hang out. I don't give a shit. That's why we use a compass as our logo, because it's wherever you are in life, you can find your direction. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how much money you have, how much money you don't have, this, that, the other. Like, you have a brain, and you are a human being. And let's break it down. What does a human being do every day? Eat, sleep, shit.
Damn it, that's exactly what I was going to say.
And then on some days you cry.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if you don't eat, sleep, and shit, you can't function and sustain as a human being. If you have to go through crying that day and you don't do it, you block that shit up too, mentally and physically. Your body, man, we carry so much of this shit. And it's like, if we just realize that we don't have to fucking be on all the time, we don't have to be what society or Glamour magazine or whatever hell anyone's telling us to do, you know, just because there's a new shirt out that Kanye cut a bunch of holes into it or whatever, like, you don't have to go get that. And if you don't have that, that doesn't mean that you're no different of a human being, you know? Like, fuck all this material shit. Focus on yourself and, like, what you're doing for others too. And that can be so easily, you know, achieved with Hope for the Day, because that's just telling your story about how you've been impacted by mental health.
Right.
Because it's like, if you can influence one person, fuck yeah, let's do it. But if you are someone who has, you know, millions of followers and stuff like that, I challenge you to partner with us and go, yo, just send me a couple JPEGs and tell me the hashtags and shit like that. And, like, can we kick a video on, you know, like, can I tell my story? Because, like, I've been this, I've done that. And it's like, holy fuck, man. Like,
chain reaction, man.
Let's do this. Exactly. Like, let's do this the right way. But charities fuck up, and they don't want that, or they say, we got to have this perfect thing for this thing, you know. And I'm just not here for that, man.
Right.
I am not here for that. And it's funny because, you know, you talk about how we fundraise, and we don't get grant funding all that often ever, because we just don't have time to, like, sit there and cut down trees.
It's like a whole other job too. It's like
it is.
You gotta find a way to do passionately and get the right people on board. And it's just,
but it's also it's not sustainable for mental health, because, like, they talk about, like, you know, quantifying things, and it's
can you
like,
prove to us that this happened?
Yeah,
we'll give you $10,000.
Right. How many people have you saved? Fuck off. How many people have you saved? None. You've been fucking thinking about yourself the whole time. Yeah. But, you know, it's like, we want people to be like, you know what, I should do something about this. I should do something. What can I do? But if we rely on things like that to fund our programming, and we can't prove to them whatever bullshit they're looking for, we're not going to get the funding. Yeah. That's a waste of my staff's time.
And by just doing this shit, man. Like, you never know who's just going to turn on this podcast tomorrow, hear this, and be like, holy fuck, this is really cool. And I'm a billionaire, and I'm going to make sure these
and we're a 501c3, so I will print you off the nicest tax receipt. We got this real gangster-ass Strathmore 100% cotton paper that we send out. Dude. You hold it up, there's a watermark in it. It's like a soft. Like, you can sleep on this shit. It's
dope.
Nice, man. But it's like, the thing is that, you know, you can go donate or you can invest into mental health, you know, and that's why for us, I'll be the one that swears. I'll be the one that goes out and you know, busts my hump, man. You know, my friend.
That's what I like is you talk about going out to a church in Milwaukee or whatever the fuck it was, and then you're over here and you're going on world tour and you're doing all these things on your own. You're in LA for a homie's birthday.
Yeah.
And you were like, yo, I'll do the podcast. I'm like, I have one time to do it.
Right.
Can you do it in this morning on Sunday?
Right.
Yeah, bro, I'll be there.
And it's a Sunday.
It's a fucking Sunday, and you were turning up last night trying to enjoy your life out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know?
He's like, yeah, we were up till like 4 a.m.
Yeah, you know, and it was fun, man, because I wasn't sitting there looking at a phone or anything like that. When you got good conversation, man, like, that's that shit we need, man.
I agree.
We need that. We need to shut off, but we need to also, you know, if we're gonna turn these people on and have them influencing people, you know, like you need to actually influence.
And it starts somewhere too. Like you started from the fucking ground up. You know what I mean? You worked. I like, from you talking about just having T-shirts and putting things out, or even just working with like a local pub or something. And you're just saying like, hey man, just this beer means this. That's what it means. Just tell that person when you serve it to them that this is what it means. I remember. So one of our good family friends, he does street art shit and he goes by Morley, and so he creates like the coolest.
That's
messages.
my boy.
You know him?
Oh man, I'll text him right now.
Yeah. So that's like we grew up together. My uncle was like his dad forever, pretty much.
Are
like,
you fucking serious?
Yeah. So Morley does that shit, and I remember reading in his book. I might fuck this up because I had a terrible memory, but I'm pretty sure this is where I heard this, which I thought was cool, which inspired him. Maybe I want to say is. There was an artist that would go around, I think it was a college. I might be botching this whole shit, but the message is tight. Yeah. This dude would go around the college, and he would take like sticky notes and write like a message to person. I'm pretty sure this came from him. Just put up a sticky note that's like, you're important.
Right.
Or love yourself, or I love you, or something like that.
Yeah.
Sorry. And it's about affecting one person. You said that to me on the phone too. My friend Travis Lloyd, who was on the podcast before too, it's all about one person. I love that message.
Right.
And I think when he talks about his art, Morley, he goes and puts it up. And the idea is that maybe someone will walk by and it'll mean something to that person in the middle of the time. Instagram is a cool way to elevate that and allow a lot of people to get it forever. But it gets torn down right away.
Right.
Hey man, this is where I need to put my shit up on this wall.
Yeah.
And I saw that you did, you know, Kai, you posted his shit. Like that's my homie too. So Kai does all this cool illustrations. I was just scrolling through your Instagram and I saw that you posted one of his things. It's like, these little messages, they mean so much to people.
Oh man, yeah.
And that could be scaled out to, if you're listening to this and you own the fucking cafe in a small town Iowa or something, and you make muffins. Yeah. Dog, it does not cost very much money to go to Kinko's or whatever and print out a sheet of paper that says a little message and stick that on a fucking toothpick and shove it in your muffin when you serve it, and you could be passing that message along to anyone. You
exactly.
know what I mean? And that's what you talk about dilly bars. There's a reason why people are eating ice cream. You know what I mean? There's something like that. I love that shit.
And that's the thing. If we think about Coca-Cola as like where we want to be, and like that's where we're trying to focus our branding, you know, it's like that, like you're going to get there.
Right.
You know, so like, not to throw it out there a little bit too early, but like one of the things we're focusing on right now, and we're inviting the UN to be a part of is just, you know, I want to sit with every ambassador that walks through the UN and have them translate "It's okay not to be okay," and just give a little bit of a video, you know, on what's the state of mental health wherever they are, you know, because the goal is that if you can create something that can be translated in multiple languages, like then you can figure out how to take that and utilize that as a platform.
That's dope.
And it's like we could do that with music, man. Like, and that's why I think that, you know, whether it's music, the arts, health, wellness, anything, man. Like if you have a platform, like there's the ability to break that silence, and it's because you never know when someone's going to need to see that message. You never know when someone's going to need that help. And
have you tried to work with Logic?
Shout out to whoever checks their email box. Made me reply, motherfuckers.
My homie, he was on here before. He did he does lights for him and shit.
Oh no shit. Yeah, no. I mean, we want to, but even Logic, like he still needs to go back to being Logic, you know, the rapper, you know, and he has this platform.
That shit
right. And it's like, how long are you going to hold on to that? Because as important as that is, we need the next thing to keep that sustainability going, you know? And actually, I emailed Logic's team and I was like, yo, this is what we do. We go out, we meet the people, like this is why we raise money. And the cool thing is when we're out in the field, 100% of any money we raise while we're on Warped Tour, we're at a Live Nation thing, stays in a fund so we can keep paying to keep doing that shit.
Right.
So when you get to also say like, yo, we do this, and 100% of the money that we raise out here stays in here because you give me a platform, like that's cool. Tell me we're going out on a 45-day tour, and I'll tell you, all right, hey, can you donate the bunk spot so I can save a little bit of cash here because we're trying to do this and this and this and this, you know? Yeah. And you just get people who think differently because what, a fucking junk bunk, you know? Like, who put your shit under the goddamn bus, you know? Like, throw that. But, you know, the thing is like, you could talk to, like, my friends in the band Neck Deep. They have had me go out on so many tours with them, and they're from the UK. And, I mean, I have slept in front lounge, back lounge, aisles. Like, they're like, you don't fucking care. And I'm like, no, man, I'm here to serve, dude. And like, I'm able to do it in a way that I actually, you know, I gain something from it, you know? And it's not about me becoming some, you know, like godlike figure and being like, I saved everyone's lives. It's like, when my lights shut out, I'm gonna tell the Grim Reaper go fuck himself. But if I can't come back, I just need to be able at the end of the day to know that I gave a fuck.
Yeah, for sure.
And at the end of the day, I influence someone else. And and it's cool. Like we've saved so many people's lives. I don't even want to put a number on it because I don't even know what it is. But here's the fact that, you know, last year, you know, we put our messaging in front of almost 4 million people face to face between all the Live Nation stuff, all the Warped Tour dates, all the UK stuff that we do, all the mainland Europe stuff that we do. And we operate on about a $500,000 budget.
God damn.
Yeah. And that's nothing.
How big is your team?
We got 9 people right now.
So, okay, what did you say the term was for? Not a volunteer, but they're
an agent of impact.
Agent of impact. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
That's a tight title.
You know, I just like I kind of like close my eyes and think back to A Christmas Story when, you know, Ralphie's like listening to like Ovaltine thing and he's just trying to figure it out. You know, like I want people to be able to say, you know, I support Hope for the Day because I'm part of Hope for the Day.
Right. And
it's not just, oh yeah, you know, we make a donation to this, you know, thing every year. It's the same thing we fucking do. Like, if you want that to be for Hope for the Day, that's cool. Every year, I'm going to give you something new to think about.
Right.
And I'm going to show you what we're doing. You know, so when we announced that we're going to be doing this coffee shop, I was like, yo, let's do a gala. And everyone's like, I thought you said you're anti-gala. I'm like, I am. I'm like, how do you want to call it a gala? And I'm like, is it even gala? Who gives a fuck? Whatever it is. I'm like, we need to put people in a room that night. We need to raise some money. We need to throw a fucking party, and we need to celebrate the work we do. This isn't, you're not going to catch no somber, you know, reel, cancer reel, or, you know, videotape reel, anything like that in one of our things. I'm going to bring people there, you know? So, like, I'm going to bring people who got those stories.
Yeah.
Because I got those stories, but they got them stories too, and they're part of Hope for the Day, just like I'm part of Hope for the Day. It doesn't matter if you're on payroll or not. And, you know, we don't make the money that we all deserve.
Right.
And the funny thing is like, I had to get to a place where I had to remind myself that, oh, wait, we're a charity. All of our funding is public. So the more that I let my team know where we were, the more we could go, all right, cool. How do we crack this? You know, how do we gain revenue? How do we do things differently? And it's all coming back to create a tangible, authentic, and transparent experience for anyone, and you'll retain them as a donor.
And you know what's crazy, too, is that people always, you know, could judge a nonprofit for having payroll.
Right.
That's fucking crazy. Because
I know.
Yo, someone goes and clocks in and is an accountant for a whatever company, and they sit there and they do accounting shit every day and they get a check for it. And that's good. Yeah. That's you doing your job and you're making your money and doing that. So when someone gets mad that a fucking nonprofit is making a living, when we call it an honest living, by all means, it's an honest living. But you're getting paid to go do something that no one else is doing.
No.
And not getting paid like handsomely. You're just
No,
you're being able
no,
to
man.
afford life.
I mean, I'll, and I'm very honest about this. Our executive director, Dave, he came from Mental Health America of Illinois, and he came on board, and it's because we were working together. Like when I basically, like I always say, I was like the Kool-Aid man of mental health when I first had no idea what I was doing. The
Kool-Aid
oh fuck yeah, dude! I
that.
turned up at Mental Health of America's of Illinois' office in Chicago, and I was like, hey, I'm Johnny Boucher, and I started this organization, and I want to work with you guys. And they're like,
who are you?
who the fuck is this
Yeah.
guy? And then they're like, Dave, come up here, please. And Dave and I met, and we just like we were after it,
Right.
And I asked him to come into the organization, and I was like, yo, bro, I can't pay you what you're getting paid. And he is one of many people who sacrifice financial income right now to be a part of this team. And it's because we, at the end of the day, go home with the utmost pride that we know that we did that work, and we're doing that work. And that work's only going to get better the more that we focus on that work and we don't allow things to distract us, like trying to keep up with other organizations or like being like, well, we have this opportunity, but maybe we shouldn't be working with like a brand like Woodford Reserve, where I'm like, listen, I could fucking be upset about my uncle, drinking himself to death, and I could blame Delmore Scotch. Or I could go and say, hey, can we collab on maybe a bottle and put the Lifeline number on and put our website there? And, maybe just partner and figure out how to like communicate to your consumers that, hey, XYZ brand, company, whatever, is being proactive about mental health and wants you, to know that if you're struggling, there's a place there. But it's also, how do we work in the inside too? Because you talk about the alcohol industry, like everyone's partying and boozing and everything, and it's easy, especially when we neglect things like cultural divides. Like you can't go to Ireland and tell people not to drink. Do you understand what would happen if like prohibition happened in Ireland? Like the whole
nuke.
place would fucking burn.
Yeah, fucking nuke.
And it's also like in their culture, like having 10 pints a day might be hunky dory, where in reality, like, are you celebrating or are you filling a void?
Right.
And sadly, Ireland has a high suicide rate. But it's about how do we then partner with the companies that are providing these things to also internally have a real solid plan on how your company is addressing mental health.
Right.
Who's your HR person that
Right.
we can connect with to create a 3-step thing for if you need help, you come here. If you get benefits, this is how you work it. This is what our benefits do for you, and take out all the guesswork.
Dude, and on top of it, it's like how many times in movies and TV shows and shit you see the person that is about to kill themselves and they're drunk and they're sitting there by the train tracks and they got a bottle in their hand.
Yeah.
And what if that bottle in the hand did have a message on it?
Yeah.
And that's like right before they're about to pull the trigger or jump or do whatever it is,
Right.
they see that message and that stops them from doing that because they might not be on fucking Instagram at that time and
Right.
see the message. They might not have been on Facebook or seen a billboard.
Right.
It's right there on the actual bottle, the thing
Yeah.
that may be pushing them to
Yeah.
that space in general.
Absolutely, man.
It's incredible.
Like think about like a brand like Lyft, right? Like I told Lyft, I was like, why aren't we doing stuff together? Like, we could do things like I think that like just saying, oh, I'm going to give you a lift or lifts, we'll lift you up, talking about mental health,
Right.
like shit like that.
That's really cool.
Because we've all been in an Uber and it's fucking awkward as fuck.
Yeah.
We got Uber drivers, we got Lyft drivers that ask for our resources, and we get tagged in shit all the time. Like, so happy to be able to pass this out to a customer who I just knew was struggling,
That's crazy.
And it's like, sure, they're providing a service, but, if you see something, say something, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, come on. Like,
Right.
That's the difference. That's the difference. So that's why I love taking UberPools, by the way.
Yeah. Meet
Because
people, man.
exactly.
You meet people.
Holy shit.
I like it.
What a concept, right? We actually look each other in the eyes again.
I didn't know how to, when I first moved out here and we took an Uber somewhere, my friend like called it and I never knew what that shit was. And it was like that fucking XL. So it was like this Suburban and shit, and we all get in the Uber, and then everyone I was like, okay, so this dude's gonna drive. We sit in the back, all right. So, because usually I want to call shotgun and get up in the front seat and all that shit. So we all get in the back, and then everyone just chills on their phones, and then we just start sitting there. I'm like, am I not supposed to talk to this fucking dude? Like, this is super weird.
He's a goddamn human being.
Yeah, they train you to not talk to these people. So then I'm like, all right, cool. So I sit in the back, and then I'm like, yo, where are you from? Because no one fucking is from LA.
No.
You know what I mean? Like 10% of the
no,
drivers.
and I want to know why you're hustling too. Because like that's the beauty of it, right? We've created a platform where if people need to do a little side hustle, you can register your car, clean your car, and drive some motherfuckers around. Like, oh, okay, cool. But then you got people who are like, this is my ride or die, and you're like, that's intense, man. That's super intense. But like that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that we also here in America, I think more than other places, like we just like lump some certain jobs into like, oh, I would never work that type of job.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like
I can't drive Uber.
Yeah, I can't drive Uber. I can't. I'm not gonna go flip burgers at McDonald's. It's like it's automated, bro. You know, but you're gonna make $15 an hour. You know, like somewhere. You know, like that.
And you're currently not doing that, so just fucking go do it.
Go do something, man. Like, why is it gotta be like? Our job is who we are, you know. Where my job is, I'm unemployed. That's how I'll say it. I am unemployed. I'm on a vacation right now, and I'm just fucking. I got a little cash coming in to do it.
I respect the fucking hustle, my friend, because I think, especially for me, experiencing, like I said before, my cousin killed himself years ago, and I was young enough that, and you know what I mean. Like, it's not like you're being taught this shit in school. You're not taught that. I don't think I took a proper death class until like community college. You know what I mean? Like
DARE program. Remember like when the DARE program was out there? Like you're like,
just don't do drugs.
Yeah.
My dad taught DARE. Like he was, you know what I mean? Like he was a DARE officer. He wasn't my DARE officer, but like I just remember being in there and being like, and I didn't know what was happening. I can't recall any moments from that really. You know what I mean?
Right. And you're like, oh, drugs are bad, you know, like, and then they start telling you like what you experience on these drugs. You're like, wait, man, I'm going to see some shit?
Yeah. Like it was mainly just about drugs. And I remember it was cool because I remember from my dad doing it so much. He did it for years. He would have these parties at the end of the program, I guess, and he would invite the kids to a skating rink. And so the kids would all come to like ice skating, and they would like skate and shit. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And we would go there and hang out, and I get to skate, and I thought it was so cool. And then I remember like, you know, he's an officer, so later on there would be like a kid that would come up to him and be like, dude, you were my DARE officer, and like that impacted me, blah blah blah. And it's just, I saw it. I remember seeing it. He might listen to this and tell me I'm wrong. My brain sucks, dude. But I remember being as a kid, or maybe I created that scenario in my head, but that was like, it happened, and I remember being like, damn, it's just back to one fucking person. You know what I mean? I love that message.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what it is. But I also remember not ever being educated on it that young, and you know, when it happens, you don't really know how to handle it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you don't know how to talk about it, because I remember I didn't. I remember waiting until I'm around my family and my family's grieving, and then I don't know what to do. So like the only thing that sounds more comforting is like going and riding the moped around and like finding your homies and like going and chilling, and you don't talk to them about it. I don't know what to say. No,
you don't want to say it, and it's like, because you get the like deer in the headlights, you know, and oh my God, you know, like, and like we live in a society that thinks that, you know, contagiously is a real thing. It's like, if we talk about it, more people will do it. It's like, you dumb motherfucker. No, the more we talk about it, the more we'll get in front of people who are thinking about it, because you know, 44,000 people every year here in America take their lives. We're not talking about the opiate crisis either. Which the opiate crisis, guess what? It's a crisis. Yeah, goddamn it, it's a crisis, but it's a fucking mental health issue too. You know, Pastor Dave from the church in Milwaukee, you know, he found his son on Thanksgiving morning, you know, peeled over, you know, and his son just graduated from law school, but was battling, I believe, his anxiety with this stuff, you know, and you know, it's just the irony of the pastor, the perfect person, you know, having to face this shit and having to bring it to his congregation while also battling his own issues, you know, and it's a story that sounds like it would just crush you. And yeah, losing a kid, I talk with parents all the time, and And we work with a lot of families who've lost. And I over the years, it's not that I've become numb to it. I just refuse to allow people to sit in like a pity pool and allow them, and that's the best you deserve. Fuck no. Let's take this pain and use it for something good, you know? And that's why we do a Notorious B.I.G. shirt like every now and then. And on the back, it just says, I went from negative to positive, it's all good, you know? And like, I think that, you know, there's such a simplicity in that message. And we don't want to be labeled as the crazy family who, you know, had someone complete suicide. We don't want to be labeled as the people who are getting the cops called all the time on domestic abuse and stuff. But it's like, you call yourself a spade, you're going to get a spade, and you're going to be able to learn from that. But if you think that we got to do this, that, the other, like, fuck everybody. I tell that all the time in my keynotes. Say, if people don't want to fuck with you, fuck them. And that does not mean be a dickhead. Right. That means don't let anyone get in the way of what you need to do, whether that's addressing your mental health, whether that's writing a business plan because you want to go do something.
Anything.
It's all up to you.
Yeah, 100%.
But at the end of the day, we live in a society that instant gratification, you know, because you can fucking order whatever the fuck you want on Amazon. It will be here in less than 2 hours.
Thank God.
Like, I know, you're saving the day, man. I just couldn't go one more fucking minute. I just refuse to let people believe that it's a magic wand thing. You know, it's going to be a struggle. It's the good days, the bad days, you know, and that's why I love getting people into recovery. I love getting people into a place where they can take a step back and say, I don't need to do this, that, the other, you know, and it's interesting. You know, I'm never, we'll take money from any pharmaceutical company. We
will or won't?
We will.
Yeah.
We don't get it all out.
Yeah.
I will not tell anyone to take your fucking product though. Not going to happen, because I'm not going to say that this is the only way. There are so many ways, and that's what the beauty of like Hope for the Day is like we just focus on the shit that makes you happy and say, yo, if things are fucked up and you go run, understand what you're doing in that run. You're helping yourself.
Right.
You're releasing these valves, you know, and go back to Coca-Cola, man. It's like we don't know what mental health looks like because we don't see each other's brains. And I can get into this whole thing like we have files of brain scans that just show what happens, and it looks like you're getting bruised basically on the head, and someone just keeps punching it, and it takes over your brain, and then over time that comes, you know, that forms the unfortunate, you know, path of, you know, thinking that you got nowhere else to go. But people won't see that. So like, I'll say, well, look at this Coca-Cola bottle. We all know what happens when you shake it up and then you take the cap off. You don't release that pressure. It goes everywhere. That's mental health. So if you understand that the little things keep shaking you up, it'll shake you up, shake you up. Take that and pop that cap off, you know? But if not, what happens? That thing explodes. And it's not to get graphic, but when you fucking take your life, it doesn't matter the method, that shit sprays.
Yep.
That shit sprays. You know, you think no one cares? On average, people have 100 people that actually care. But we live in a society that we don't know how to talk to each other. Like you said, we get an Uber and everyone's flipping through the same shit, giggling at the same stupid picture. Or you're that guy like me who rarely goes on social media. I go on social media to monitor Hope for the Day stuff more often than not. But like, you know, you go on there and you like that thing that's 3 days old because the algorithm's fucked. Yeah. You know, and you're like, oh, yeah, see that? Like, yeah, late news, dog.
3 days ago, dude. I've been on this for 10 hours since
And
then.
it's like, it's interesting because social media is a great thing.
Yeah.
There's a huge opportunity there. It is misutilized more often than not.
For sure.
I would say 85%. You know, it's like, bye, new thing of this thing, talking shit, memes that are cracking jokes on shit that we would never say to someone in real, you know, like there's a lot of bad, but there's a lot of good. And I always say, like, how do we just take what is going on right now and just flip it around? And how do we create that as a platform to break the science around mental health, you know? And that's how we get creative. That's how we think of, like, what's the craziest thing we can do next, you know? Because for me, I live by a little thing that says, if it doesn't scare me, I don't want to fucking be a part of it. You know, opening a coffee shop. I know how to drink coffee like a pro, bro. Yep. Like I am the Tiger Woods of drinking coffee. I don't know how to run a shop. So like with Sip of Hope, we were like, we got to work with our partners, Dark Matter Coffee, and we need to do this the right way, and it's going to be an education experience. But
which is cool because that's what you guys do for all these other brands.
Yeah.
You're gonna go get educated by them to understand
Yeah.
it the best way you
like,
can.
yeah, dude, because like what fucking April 9th, we're brewing beer with a brewery in 18th Street in Chicago, and the fun of just creating, right? So we decided with 18th Street we're going to create a session IPA, because I was like, I want an IPA beer, but I want it to be something that is like everyone can drink. It's for everybody. And they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, the acronym is SIPA, SIPA. Okay, Simple SIPA. Oh, Simple SIPA, a beer for the good days and bad days. And they're like, what? And I was like, yo, check Untapped. Is there a Simple SIPA? No, there isn't. Okay, let's do this.
That's dope.
And like, let's have fun with it. So I got my man Joey Potts, who is an amazing illustrator. I was like, yo, Joey, let's like dial in on this creative process. And we're sitting here, and he's like, what kind of imagery do you want? I'm like, well, you guys have like skulls and like metal albums like on everything. Like, I fuck with it. Like, let's go dark. He's like, all right. And I was like, how about like having like a skeleton sitting on a beach in a chair drinking a beer?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Good life.
Well, is that going to be too graphic? I was like, fuck no, man. It's God, no. See that we can't worry about that.
Yeah,
you know,
just put it
it's
up.
the same reason why I have a copy and paste email for people who are like, why do you work with the alcohol industry? And then the first version was, go fuck yourself. You're the reason why stigma exists. And I realized, come on, more honeys with, you know, like, you gonna get them bees, right?
Yeah.
And so them vinegar motherfuckers, like, you ain't gonna get that shit. So it's like, no, let's present this in a way that like people can be a part of it. And I'm like, well, listen, you know, I can sit here and do what everyone else is doing and point the finger. Or I can do this creative way, you know? And then I can take their platform, like, hey, you know, Woodford Reserve, give me some gangster ass bottle that's been sitting in a fucking barrel forever, and let's go sell it to your consumers and use it as a platform to not only bring people together, not only to raise money for a good cause, but also to create an opportunity that when people are having a bad day, they can go, you know, even though I was sitting there having a drink at this Woodford Reserve thing, like, it went to mental health, and like, there's this chubby guy that swore a lot, and he said, like, it's okay, maybe not to be okay. I don't know what the fuck it was, but like, I'm gonna hit that dude up, or I'm gonna reach out because I need help.
Right.
You know, and it's like, that's why we work with music. Like, that's why when it comes to the hype man of hope, man, like, I will go out there, I'll give my all, because I'm going to remind you that while we're having fun right now, there are people dying. You know, like, there are people taking their lives.
Yeah.
And we can be the change, but we got to do it together. But it's when you're having a bad fucking day, you close your eyes and you remember going to this concert, this chubby dude came out and swore at you and told you it's okay not to be okay, and you grab this resource card. Maybe you fucking didn't remember where that resource card was, but you're like, well, wait a minute, hold on. Like, the organization was Hope for the Day. And then you Google it. And then we utilize our Google AdWords budget, so you can Google Hope for, and then it just fills it in for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you take all that shit out. But it's not waiting for someone to be like, oh, another person died by suicide. Well, maybe I should start to talk about my mental health.
There's a whole in between.
Right,
So
exactly.
What's like for, you know, Black with No Cream being the creative collective, and there's all these kids, I don't even like to call it, all these people in this community that are doing different shit, and they're trying to be creative, right? What is, and I want them to benefit in case, you know, maybe it's not anything related to what you're doing, but maybe they do want to start a nonprofit and try to find some shit. What are some like tips that you could offer, especially like in your early stages of growing your shit? It really sounds like you were just like, fuck it, I'm gonna work my ass off and try to preach what at least I know, and I'll pick things up on the road.
I give a lot of respect. You know, I talk about Mike all the time. Mike showed me how to do some things on a bigger scale, because I was used to just doing shows at, like, you know, VFW halls and shit like that, and he showed me a lot. But then his death, you know, opened my eyes to a lot of things. And one thing that I took away from Mike was just this mentality that, like, you know, the whole, you know, ask for forgiveness and not permission thing was the truth. He was that to a T. He let his flaws be out there. So by taking that honesty and that lesson and applying to Hope for the Day, it allowed me to kind of really want to be like, no, I'm going to do whatever. Yeah. And then it came down to a conversation with a good friend, Robin Harding, who she was working for Cure for epilepsy. Powerhouse, badass. And she, like, you're talking like $200 million a year annual budget for research and shit like that. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
She just looked me in the eye one day. She was like doing some consulting for me. And she goes, listen, do you have a timeline? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, do you have a timeline on when it might be time to shelve this? And I was like, no. And she's like, all right, your homework assignment is to figure out what that timeline is. And I remember leaving her house. I got in the car. I called my mom. And I was like, fuck that. And she's like, what? I'm like, I was just told to make a timeline if this is going to work or not. And I'm like, there ain't no timeline.
Right.
You know? And I think that when we want to do something, whenever we want to do something, we want to do it. And there's that overarching, insecurity that we neglect, that, we don't know all the answers, but we want to come in and we want people to take us serious, right? We want to be the best. We want to be the yes man of whatever we are, because we want to get to this thing, or we want to be able to get to this thing that someone else has. And if you're not legit, they're not going to fuck with you, right?
Right.
That beats you down up here. We don't take on angel investors. Like, I got so many friends that are in co-working spaces right now that are like trying to create this thing, that thing, and they're getting, multi-million dollars of funding. And I had one, Aaron Frazen, he just told me, he's like, the best thing I did was remember, one, why I did it, and realize that I'm just a human being trying to do something.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to take that into consideration. Whatever you want to do, it's not going to be a flip of a switch. I made the joke the other day that I'm going to change the name of the coffee shop from Sip of Hope to Patience Cafe. And my mom goes, why? And I said, because I finally understand what having patience means. You got to. Like, I wanted to have the coffee shop open 2 months ago. And, there's a process, especially in our process. It's like, this shit's costing a lot of money, but at the same time, like, I'm asking people to be a part of it. That sacrifice comes with it. And I neglected it at first. I was like, oh, no, we'll do this. But I'm asking people's help. For example, shout out to our architects, JGMA, like, they didn't charge us the $20,000 it was to do all of our prints and, constantly drawing, having staff go on that.
Yeah.
They're part of it, and that shit took time.
Yeah.
That conversation started in November, and we just submitted our permit, and like our building permit is so funny. It's like Chicago, it's 4 to 6 weeks, and for some reason I got it done in 14 hours. You know? But it's like simply because I invite people to talk about this shit. And I think that, when we want to do something, we want it now, we want to keep it going, and we forget some things like financially, stuff like that. We're going to need to make some sacrifices. And for me, when I decided to go all in, I looked at my money. I looked at how I was making money on the side. I was like, how am I going to survive? I got this, and I budgeted my life out, and I was like, holy shit, I became an adult. Cool. I can't spend money like a jackass if I'm going to do this, because I got $2,000 in expenses plus my food budget, all this other shit just to survive.
Yeah.
And if I ain't got no money coming in, and I got this, this little nut that I'm chipping away at, I got to chip that away at, but I can't also go,
buy
oh my
the
God.
Kanye shirt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't do that. You can't sit on, Supreme and fucking have 4 laptops like we used to have, and just be like, autofill, oh, fuck, and then flip it, Like, we don't have that opportunity if we're going to dedicate ourselves to that. And, my biggest takeaway from starting the new organization was I wish someone told me that I didn't have to have all the answers in the beginning.
I like that.
But it's also, that should have came from me, But I wanted to be on, and I was allowing the fact that I wanted to not impress people. I wanted people to take me serious.
Yeah.
I wanted people to take me serious because of how serious this topic is.
Right.
And I mean, we were doing shit, ass backwards, man, sometimes, but like, we did it, and we strive. We get through this shit, we struggle to come back stronger every single day as an organization. And it's because we are all in, and you got to go all in, or you're not going to do that. And you're going to start to allow fear to build hesitancy, and when you're hesitant, you're gonna fucking be not thinking clear, and you're gonna fuck everything up.
Yep.
So it's like, for anyone that's doing anything, you gotta write that shit down, and you gotta be diligent about it, and you gotta delegate.
Right.
Like, I didn't have an assistant when I was working in the music industry. I refused to have an assistant. I refuse to have an assistant now because I don't want to have someone I don't want to be some jackass who like, I'm too busy to read my emails. You know, it's like, go fuck yourself. Like, run your shit. But build a team that when you need to run shit, you fucking pass that off real quick. You know, I'm grateful to Slack. They support Hope for the Day. We get to use their platform for free.
Oh, that's dope.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I get 300 fucking, ability to have 300 people on our system. You don't have that many people, but we're able to tie in and streamline so many things.
I bet.
And we're able to save money by doing that. But at the same time, we're doing it because
maximizes the day, dude. You know what I mean? That's the
Bro,
beauty of that.
yeah, I don't take days off.
Team.
I take hours off in the day.
Fuck.
You know, that's how it is. Like, I value my mornings. Like, I do. I value waking up, letting my dogs out to go shit, and you know, just being in my zone and understanding my process. And I think that, you know, after reading, Tribe of Mentors and a couple other things from Tim Ferriss, I was just like, what's my process? You know, why is it, you know, and it's just to understand how your body reacts to things. You know, it's like, why do you wake up and every morning you immediately get out of shit? Well, what do you do before you go to bed? You know, like understanding those little things so you can just operate and function better, but also time management.
Right.
Like hone in on that. Like figure out when do you have time to give to yourself before you have to let the world shit on you for the rest of the day. Because that's how it's going to be. And it's not going to be like this
like
like
your
big
meditation state.
Yeah, exactly.
You need that space.
Fucking go on Headspace and get the goddamn app.
I like that app.
You know, and one of our board members just did a year. You know,
The subscription or whatever.
He just did a year. He just did a year consistently.
Oh wow.
And it changed his life, man.
Yeah.
You know, meditation, yoga changed my life. I'm the biggest dude in the yoga room.
Dude, I want to do yoga so bad.
I am telling you, man. You will learn how your body feels. Like this morning, I woke up. I was a little haggard, you know, and I was just like, whew, man, what do I need to do? I go outside, get that sun in my. I go, oh man, I'm gonna do a sun salutation right now. I'm gonna breathe this shit in. I'm gonna bring it in, you know. And it's like,
that's cool.
You gotta hone in on that, and like if you get that process going, you'll start to understand what makes you insecure, what makes you become pissed off or a little bit agitated a little bit more when you're working with your team. And if you just learn to breathe
that's
before you go. Yeah, I mean, knee-jerk. I'm the king of knee-jerk, man. My staff will tell you that I have made some knee-jerk reactions, but it's because and I think to them it's easy for it to see like as the knee-jerk thing, where to me it's like I've been planning this. I've been plotting this shit. Like I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know when it was going to happen type thing. And I'm always trying to learn how I can like be looking ahead, you know, forward. You know, like right now I'm trying to focus on 2019.
Right.
And at the same time, I'm like, oh, shit, I got to fill out this paperwork for a coffee shop and shit like that. So it's like I build that balance in my everyday, and it doesn't bog me down. Like, I don't allow shit to stress me out. Like, I can't. Because then everything just,
fucks everything up.
Yeah, exactly. So you just need to understand your process, why you do things a certain way.
Exactly.
Like, I used to be fucking vegetarian and vegan at one point, and the joke is because I'm a bigger guy, what vegetables do you eat to get so fat? Well... You dickhead. I was raised with a father that loved going to the pantry on Saturdays and getting a rack of donuts and some chocolate milk and crushing them before we got home so mom wouldn't find out.
Right.
So, you know, it's like I've been a chubby kid all my life, but I had to make a decision based off of education because I was working and I was suffering from like really bad malnutrition. And I'm a big guy. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I'm like protein everything, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I was eating real healthy. And I was feeling good, but I was like coming home midday and just like collapsing. And I was like, what the fuck? You know, so I hit my doctor up and he's like, read this book. And it was about eating for your blood type. And I just understood, okay, my blood type calls for the blood of the animal. And, you know, I got to get past this shit. So how do I incorporate this in my diet so I preserve my body? You know, how do I do things that way? And it just comes from that education and understanding your process. You know, I have horrible ADHD. When I was a kid, my parents were told that I should be on Ritalin, and my parents both have had careers in the health care world. My parents were like, nah, fuck no, man. Like, we don't know about that shit yet. So they allowed me to create and express and be this person that had a room that went from a toy room into an art room into a music room and just kind of evolved. And I would use those platforms to like get my aggression out. Nothing's better than going home and beating the living shit out of some drums after a day. You know, you just feel like you just did something, but you didn't allow anyone else
to be affected or to affect your shit.
To impact it. So it's like, understand that process. My mornings are beautiful. I try to take my conference calls outside of the office. I try to walk. And I give myself these little breaks throughout the day. But if you got to hustle, man, you got to hustle. You know, like I'll do it tomorrow. Guess what? 3 more things are going to get put on that I'll do that tomorrow list. And all of a sudden you're going to be stacked up and you're going to be like, oh, what the fuck? And that is when you're going to start crumbling because you're like, I don't know what to do. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And you're going to shut down.
Right.
So for me, it's like build that process, understand my yin and my yang, what drives me crazy, what doesn't, you know, and just figure out how to balance that.
And it's like minimize to maximize.
Bro, you know, here's the thing. Exactly. Like, I watched the Minimalist, show. You could ask my brother. I had said, I got up off the couch. I said, get up. He goes, what? I go, fucking throw this couch out. We don't need this shit in our lives. And I just launched it off of our balcony in Chicago. And then I was like, all right, cool. We got a fireplace down there. We'll go burn this shit, throw it out, whatever. And it was funny because then my brother comes in and I'm like, we got 2 chairs. He's like, well, what if we have other people here? I'm like, well, we'll worry about that then. Like right now, let's focus on this, you know? And it's funny because like I did that same thing. We just went from one office that was like 2,500 square feet down to 1,000, and like our team is kind of like chilling with each other now, and I feel like we're running so much more efficient. But we were all scared of like, oh, what do we do? And I started analyzing like, what creates clutter on my desk? Okay, what creates clutter in my life? Because my desk in my bedroom right now look like a fucking storm.
Yeah.
How do I get rid of this shit? And I was like, well, I'm holding on to all this shit. I don't need this stuff. So, yep, you know it. That fucking dresser one day got launched over that, and I got rid of shit. I donated 4 bags of clothes, and I was just like, cool, I don't need this shit anymore. Why am I doing this, you know? So I feel like if I do have a second career in anything, it could be like one of those people that goes out on hoarders and helps people. I'm just going to be the guy that expedites it. Just bring a fucking, cut the gas line. Let's put some gas in this thing, launch it. Goodbye, you know? Like, that's what we do. Think about that. Think about the fact that we hold on to shit, whether it's physical or mental, and it fucking bogs us down. We don't even know it. You know, I like traveling. I like going on tour. Guess what? For Warped Tour, 53 days, I take a carry-on.
You're fucking smart, man, because when I went on tour, I didn't know how that shit worked, and I was like, oh, cool. I had a fucking massive suitcase. Yeah. We just talked about this with my homie Dusty, but I didn't wear any of my clothes. No. I brought like 3 pairs of shoes because I'm like, well, do I need like, what if I have to work out or something? Never had time to fucking do that. Then it's like I wore the same clothes every day. Same sweatpants. And I was like, the tour manager had a backpack. Yeah. And I was like, yo, you are a genius. Dog.
Yeah. And then I started carrying a Pelican and I was like, sick. Mm-hmm. I have shit that can protect my shit now. The really expensive stuff. So you damn right I've been that guy that's like Pelican down the stairs and I'm like, camera's fine, you know, like good. Now, one day I'm gonna be like, oh, son of a bitch. But you know, that's how it goes. But it's like you don't need to carry all that shit with you.
Have you seen the show The Chi?
No. Oh wait, no. I saw a trailer for it.
Yeah.
Because like
it's new. It's very new.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I was like, what the hell is this show thing, The Chi? You know.
I've seen a bunch of ads for it around here, and then finally just started watching it. Me and my girlfriend just started watching it the other day. And it's very serious. The show's very, very serious. But what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about Chief Keef and all this, that drill lifestyle and whatnot, it's insane to see how things spiral out of control, and it can happen from such an old age and an early age, right?
Yeah.
But I just watching it, it's like, man, you see these kids get hustled into shit, and they have no choice really because they are turned on to it early, and then this becomes cool, and then this becomes a problem, and then this becomes very much a problem that, you know, you don't know how to handle it and you get into some fuck shit. But it would be cool to see you guys, I mean, being a Chicago brand starting and coming out of that, it's like to try to find ways to incorporate that into the show would be so fucking sick.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's the cool thing. Like we are, you know, I'll say it again, like we're here to build a bigger table, right? A longer table. And that's why I like my passion for utilizing hip hop as you know, a genre that speaks volumes to so many. You know, we can all make the jokes that, you know, all the white kids listen to hip hop. That's fine and dandy. Like, whoever it is not for me to determine. It should be whatever is getting to them. Let's work with that.
Right.
And you know, you see it, and hip hop traditionally has a lot of negativity in it, and like we see where things can be, and I think that's what like the beautiful thing about like Notorious B.I.G.'s lyrics, like Nas, like they take you through these like lyrical assassin visual things that you feel like that, like like that's what Kendrick, you know, has done so well. You know, like we're people like J. Cole, you know, like it's no longer about, you know, being a gangbanger and stuff like that. It's about the reality of what's going on. And if we talk about the history of being a minority or a subculture here in America, we can talk about, you know, social stuff, like how like social services are not really readily available for them. But like no one's talking to them. Like no one's talking to the African American communities, talking about like diabetes, you know, in a way. You know, in Chicago, I was like, oh, cool. They just put soda tax on there, like, and they raised the prices of that. They bitched and complained because of money, and I was like, so just let me understand here. You don't want to charge someone 35 more cents because of a health concern. You don't want to charge them that from a monetary, because you feel that increase is just gonna, you know, shut a lot of people out from buying shit product. That's not my fault. But, you know, look at all the stuff we're seeing with, you know, the NRA and you know, all the tax cuts and all this side shit that we just don't know about, you know? And that's why, like, that shit's there's always gonna be someone in the background fucking things up for everyone else. So that's why, like, for us, you know, we need to take the opportunity that we have to do these certain things and utilize these opportunities for the best, not just to bang out a buck, you know. And I always say the show is always going to go on. It's always going to happen. So why not put some sort of social aspect behind it, you know? Like, if you're an artist that's selling out arenas, one, you should have a certain amount of money going in from every ticket to a charity. Two, you should work on, you know, your guest list being, you know, you can be a guest list, but you should still pay something and should go to that charity. Yeah. But then you also use that platform as a tour to educate thousands of people every night. How fascinating is that? But it's overlooked because there's not a price tag on it. Just like, you know, someone can't really make money off of this other than the charity, you know? Right, yeah. And it requires an artist lending their platform, which right now in the music industry, obviously, like, revenue is revenue. Work to be done. Revenue is revenue, but, you know, and everyone's fighting over that stuff right now. And it's like, it's important that we just figure out, you know, how do we utilize these things and maximize these things, you know, like, you don't have Justin Bieber go out and do the Purpose tour and not have some fucking charitable aspect that's giving people the purpose in their life, which to me sounds like a mental health thing, you know, like just going off. But it's there. We're gonna get there. You know, we'll be doing mental health. I swear, with Bay and Jay. We'll be doing it with Taylor. We'll do it. We'll get there, and we're not gonna stop at anything. But we're not gonna get there unless we know how we're gonna get there, and that's the process. So it's like, focus on your personal process, focus on your workflow process, and make sure you give, you know, grace for failure. You know, like there's that's a beautiful thing. You know, it shouldn't be such a negative thing. Yeah, but for sure. You know, we do that. We beat the fuck out of ourselves for it, and it's sad because when life is kicking us in the ass, we sometimes don't even recognize it until we've, you know, our soda bottles are ready to blow up, you know? And that's the sad stuff, because no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to be labeled, any of that. Like, it's just not going to... Hey, man, I feel like you're on the fucking right path, and this shit's sick, and you got all the support you need from us. Yeah. Black with No Cream and shit. Like, I fuck with what you're doing. That's why I wanted you on here. I wanted to hear about all this shit. Yeah. You fucking explain it so well. Yeah, and I think we'll probably set the record for like a 4-hour podcast, because I just don't know when to shut up. But no, it's like, you're good. I love it, man. Like, it's the truth, you know. And it's like, we need people in our lives. We need to support one another better. Agreed. And it shouldn't be about how many likes we get. It should be about what we are doing together and that impact. And we can all do a better job. And that's why I say, let's just start. What's the low-hanging fruit, man? What's the easy access points?
Yeah.
What can we take that you're already doing and just enhance it a little bit better?
That's sick. So, because we are talking a shit ton, I want to make sure that the Black with No Cream members can ask you some questions. So I let them know that you were coming on the show. I did late last night, so there was only a few questions or whatever. And I did an interesting thing where I'm trying it now, and I told you about it earlier, but I'm let people do like a video. So I got one video, 2 questions. So I'm going to read the text questions first, and then I'll play the video afterwards. But Andre Nutbean, I'm very bad at saying their names.
Hey.
But it looks like his last name is Nutbean. He says, question, what are your goals for Hope for the Day for 2018? You did just talk about how you were...
Fuck, man.
But there's a follow-up question, so these might pair together. It says, what can you tell other creatives that want to help out with raising awareness? So what are your goals and what are this? I would like to hear, I think your long-term goal, I think it'd be cool to see these coffee shops popping up more.
Yeah. I mean, internally, we have like a 10-year goal with those. We want to have a couple locations across the country in different areas. And like the cool thing about the coffee shop is that not only is it like this social enterprise to do good every day, but it also is like this beacon. There's resources available in them, and we partner with the local Chicago Public Library to do our mental health first aid training, which is our CPR for our mental health 4-hour training. And it's like we create these hubs,
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it's like if we're living in a day and age where more and more government funding is being taken away from mental health services and people are having to shut their doors, how do we open doors differently? And that goes back to meeting people where they're at and not where we expect them to be.
Right. That's awesome. So what would you say is a way that these other creatives can get involved? Because, I mean, all these, especially if being unfamiliar with the group itself, kids are creating content every day. And I see a lot of kids, damn, I keep calling them kids. I'm just so used to, I'm a fucking kid, man. I'm a 29-year-old kid.
Forever young,
you know
man.
what I mean? Forever. So I always say, like, I see them creating this content. Some of them are testing out ideas. They're trying to, hey, man, I'm an illustrator. I just got this new drawing pad, and I just made this.
Yeah.
I think that, I'm answering your question for you, but I feel like a lot of these kids could take advantage of sharing a message when they're practicing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? We anyone's welcome to the table, so whatever your platform is, whatever you're creating, like, we can't do it all on our own, and we don't do it some things the best, so being able to get some influences, it also helps, like having just good content to put out is very beneficial to do so. So I always say, hey, you want to get down? I can show you the way, but here's what we got to do first. You got to know why you serve. Why do you personally serve? What's your story? Big or small, doesn't matter, but no one's going to care unless you tell them why you care.
True.
And that's where it starts at. So having a story and being able to say, yo, I'm a graphic designer.
Good.
I can holler at you. Yeah, dog, I might have you design a couple decks for us or something like that, you know? But, like, anyone can help out. Yeah. But it's also, like, whatever you're working on, just say, how could we maybe incorporate, a message like it's okay not to be okay or have hope, or how can we, I'm grinding on this thing right now, and there's, like, you want to have a charitable aspect of it, like, let us know.
Right.
Like, as I got 2 rules from my board of directors: no burning churches, and don't offend people a lot.
That was fucking solid.
I mean, like,
yeah,
you're gonna piss people off.
Yeah,
like I mean, I don't allow the things that hold everyone else back to affect us.
That's
and perfect. If we fuck up, I'll take it. You want to send me a C and D? I'll take it. Mm-hmm. No, I'll get you to pay attention.
Yeah, for sure. You're very good at that.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Like, I always say, man, just act like a dumb American.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, I'm American. I don't know what I'm talking about. My head's up my ass.
Yeah.
And just recognize that your head is probably up your ass. But,
for sure.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's like anyone has the ability, whether it's big or small, to come to the table. Mm. And that's the thing that, I'm not ego tripping. I might be the guy that goes out and speaks a lot, but if you have an audience that you can speak to, I challenge you to, but know your story first.
For sure. For fucking sure. Phil Allen says, I've lost a couple of close friends to suicide. Back then, the awareness and prevention were not like they are today. I would like to personally thank you and your team for all that you do. How did suicide prevention find you, and what made you want to start a nonprofit? We kind of talked about that already. But I would also like to know where I can purchase some merchandise.
Oh, shit.
Link in bio.
Yeah. No, for real. It's, you can support us, whether you're in Europe and the UK. We have a store over there.
Oh, cool.
And then we have, because I fucking hate
The shipping
people,
cost,
oh,
dog.
my God.
I have some kids that are trying to help me out with the black and no cream shit over there, too, because it's like $22 to ship some shit. And I'm like,
I know. It's
I can't do anything about it, man.
Right. Exactly. And, thankfully, we're getting smarter on how we put things out there. But, you can find our stuff anywhere, and the support is right there. But I always just say go to the Hope for the Day website, hftd.org,
Boom.
hopefortheday.org.
Boom.
I got fucking over 100 different URLs
That's
that
right.
go right to it. So
Sick. No, man, go buy some fucking merch, man. All that shit. I say it every episode. It always helps, no matter what the movement is or whatever your spot.
Yeah.
The shit fucking sick. The brand's sick. I love. If you get on their Instagram, you see it. I posted some of the pictures in the group, like the hats and shit, the stickers, everything just works really well.
Yeah, and it's that goes back to that branding aspect, But one thing I do love is when people say, "Hey, how can I get involved?" And you're from a creative.
Yeah.
If you see something that we aren't doing, and you got like some backbone, it's easy to say, maybe you guys should start a podcast. I'll be like, all right. But if you come to something that's like a little bit more tangible, and saying, "Hey, I run a podcast and we're doing pretty well, actually, and we know some of the ways to build some traction." And
here's a quick PDF on how you could
exactly,
Easy.
And then I go, no shit, okay, cool, because we just bought a mic that we're taking out on Warped Tour, and I'm going to be doing stuff on our bus. Maybe you can give me some tips,
Nonprofits for dummies or whatever.
Yeah.
It goes back to that. But I mean, that's super true. This is okay. Wait. I want to play this one. I just want to make sure it works. This is my homie Travis. Oh shit!
It's okay.
Almost lost the coffee. So Travis, I tried to loop you in with him. He was on the podcast earlier.
Yeah.
This dude's awesome, and I'm glad he fucking posted this video. So I don't know. I'll put it in the YouTube version of this. It'll be on there. You'll hear it better in the mix. But
hey, Johnny, Travis Lloyd here. I am reaching out to you from my bedroom because Ben decided to post this opportunity to ask you questions really late at night. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to reach out to you and say hello.
Hello.
Ask you a couple really great questions. So to give you a little background, I've done a lot of work in mental health advocacy, especially with at-risk populations, for a little over a decade now. And one of the things that I run into all over the country is there's a lot of people who are doing great things and raising a lot of great awareness, but they're not doing a really good job of it, primarily because it's a sensitive subject that a lot of people are afraid to really tiptoe around.
Yes,
but it seems like you found a way to make light of this sensitive subject and do it in a way that's lighthearted and friendly and gets people engaged. So being that this is in the Black with No Cream podcast, I want to ask you, how can people approach creating a brand in a way that is engaging, that encourages people to be involved in a friendly way, that feels supportive, as opposed to highlighting negativity, especially around such sensitive subjects. So I hope that's not too unclear of a subject. It's really something that a lot of people can learn from if you could just hone into that little piece of genius that allows you to create a brand that spreads around such an important thing.
dope.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I
really want you to connect with him.
Yeah, no, I want to connect with him too, and I actually listened to the podcast, or I watched the podcast.
Oh yeah, sweet. We got it on YouTube if you're listening to this on iTunes.
Yeah, I watched it, and I wish I could send a video back and said, "Hey man,
you got it right here.
Are you were you wearing boxers? Were you in pajamas
Hell yeah,
or something
he
like
was
that?"
boxers for sure.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, man.
Hey man, I'm in bed and I need to ask this question. Real quick.
Like the question he asked is amazing, and I think that when you want to do something, you got to do your homework, and then you'll see the opportunities that really lie out there. But I say this all the time. Fuck being reactive. We actually abolished the word awareness out of the organization.
Bye-bye.
I just said, listen, if you don't know that this shit's a big fucking issue, you're not paying attention.
True.
Like, get it out of here. Get that word out of here. Because everyone's like, we're creating awareness for this. It's like, no. The bag of shit is on fire right now, folks. We need to stomp it out.
Yeah.
We can't be like, so, did you know that if you take a lighter and light a piece of paper, it could grow to a bigger fire?
Right.
No, man, no. But really, it's about what is that message you want to get out there?
Yeah.
What is the pain? What is the message in your heart that you feel? And I stumbled really on it's okay not to be okay. I was pissed off. I was kind of reflecting about Mike, and I was reflecting about all my friends because I had just lost another friend to suicide at the time. And I go, why can't I just let motherfuckers know it's okay not to be okay? And I was like, wait a minute.
Let's just say that a lot.
I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And then all of a sudden, like, I was just like, this is what it means. This is what that means. Like, this is not a sad thing. This is saying it's okay.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's okay, but come on now, keep it up.
Right.
And that's the thing. We have to give way with apathy.
True.
We have to give way with cushioning things. We have to give way with allowing people to sit longer in this little sad pool of life than they should be. I'm just very blunt and honest to it now. And I've heard from parents and I've heard from people that are like, listen, you go right at it. And I go, yeah, I'm not here. It's black and white conversation. Like it's just, we need to say the things we don't say and just do it.
Right.
And for us, it's by, creating messaging and stuff like that. But it's, I'll be honest, like it all comes from why you're doing whatever you're doing. And in any situation, when you understand truly what caused you to get to this point of why you're refusing to ever allow silence to speak for yourself again, you get your messaging, your messaging is put right in front of you.
Right.
It's speak the fuck up now instead of later. And do that. And you got to make it redemptive, man.
Yep.
You got to stop fucking... We live in, like, the richest country, supposedly in the world. Yeah, we have so much debt. Anyways, that's another conversation. Yes. But we have all this shit, right? And we are the saddest fucking people.
It's crazy, man.
Why? Oh, it's because we can't afford the latest Jordans, the sort of... It's like, who gives a fuck about that stuff? You think that they're going to bury your ass with that stuff? Fuck no, man. No, they're not. And it's about what we choose to take important and make important in our lives, but no one's going to take it serious if we wait for people to take it serious. No one's going to take it serious if we sugarcoat it. And that's why I always go back to the Holocaust, man. I'm not Jewish. I got mad respect for the Jewish community. I will fuck up a bowl of matzo ball soup any time of day. Any fucking time of day.
Turn up.
But I'll tell you this. I grew up with so many people that looked at that as a negative thing. And yes, it's a negative thing. The Holocaust was horrible. But are you going to allow history to repeat itself? Because if you're not, then you're not going to take that as a sensitivity issue. You're gonna honor the people you lost. And you're going to fucking go out there and you're going to say, they were number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And they had that tattooed on them, and they were in a concentration camp. And you know what? They died, but guess what? We're all going to fucking die.
Yeah.
But it's what you died for. And we should be honoring those people and telling their stories so we can remind ourselves not to have this shit happen again. Because that's how we learn. And
it's fucking responsible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a responsible way to move.
Responsibility, but it's how do you break the cycle? And no revolution came out of just fucking going with the bee's knees here and
kick down some fucking doors.
Yeah,
man.
dude, become the Kool-Aid man and bust down the fucking door and do it. And I said, if people don't want to fuck with you, fuck them. Don't let anyone get in your way. Don't let anyone stop you from doing whatever it is you want to do. And if you need to ask for help, ask for fucking help. But don't be a dickhead in the process and think that you're going to be able to do whatever it is you want to do alone. But realize that the amount of effort and shit that you put into it, people are going to resonate with that. And they're going to say, yo, man, you're fucking with that shit. That's good. I want to get down with that. You know, my life's been impacted that way too. Like, we should do this together, man. Like, together, linear. You know, the reason that I don't say, you know, we proudly serve the LGBT community, the veterans, and the youth is because 121 people take their lives every day here in America. I don't fucking care who you are. It doesn't matter. What matters is one's too many.
Yep.
And when are we going to allow one to be the only thing we're talking about? When we're talking about that group, and we need to create services for this is like what? No, one thing, one linear approach to mental health because we all have brains.
True, man. Dab to that. Fuck. Dab to that shit.
Dude, dab to the life.
Yeah,
man. Like,
God damn,
double dab. You know what I'm saying?
No, I appreciate you fucking. I hope people are listening to this right now because this message is super, super real, and I think that it just adds value to what you guys are doing to finally hear. Well, for me to hear what this is. I mean, this is so new to me.
Yeah.
What you guys are doing. I'm glad to have heard it. I'm glad to share the story, and I appreciate you for fucking doing what you're doing for everybody that's needs it.
Yeah.
Everyone needs this shit, man. Like,
we need to. We got to realize one day our lights are going to be out and our voices will not be heard. So don't let any motherfucker put you in a place where you're some fucking puppet. That ain't what we're here to do.
it's true, dude.
We ain't here to do.
Fuck. At the end of every podcast, I always say, if anyone ever made it this far, do you have Twitter then? So if you don't use social media, do you use Twitter or?
I mean,
Instagram?
I do. I use Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. I'm not like, like I said, I stay on like the ones and twos on making sure that like if anyone's popping off on our social media, like we can catch them, you know.
Okay, well,
but I got them all. I got them all. It's just at Johnny Boucher. And here's the thing: if you put an H in Johnny, you ain't gonna find me. That ain't me. It's JONNYBOUCHER. And I'm gonna remind you, if you write an H in there, you ain't gonna find me. And if you email me, shout out to everyone who emails me with an H in my name. How'd you email me? And actually then not know my real name.
Right,
you know
right,
what I'm saying? But like, I got it, you know, but like,
this dude's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yo, but it's at Johnny Boucher. You can holler at me anywhere.
All right, what I say is, if they made it this far, they get to write us a hashtag. You can come up with whatever the hashtag is that you want it to be, and this lets me know and you know that they listened to this whole shit and got something from it.
Wow.
So I always say, like, just hashtag it. And so I still get random hashtags from, like, my first fucking episode, which damn, what the fuck was it? It was some ridiculous shit. Yeah. Sometimes I get hashtags, I'm like, why the fuck are they saying that to me? And I forget that someone said, like,
yo,
whatever. So what do you want them to? Do you want it to Hope for the Day's Instagram? They can just. I'll tell them to fucking hit your comments and tag us.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Come. You know, come with it.
Come with is the hashtag.
No, just come with it. Come holler at Hope for the Day, however you want. Honestly, if we want to see some impact, some traction from here, I got this little thing called Hustle Hard Boulevard.
Hustle Hard Boulevard.
Yeah,
that's
it's just Hustle Hard BLVD. You know
okay.
what I'm saying? And I think that's the fun about Hustle Hard Boulevard is like everyone's got their own boulevard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that if you're working on that, but honestly, just fucking holler at fucking it. You know, put hashtag Hope for the Day. We monitor the fuck out of this shit.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what gives you hope.
That's tight.
That's what I want to know.
Hustle Hard Boulevard. That's fucking dope too.
Yeah.
Any of those hashtags work. Dude,
yeah.
I appreciate you coming on this shit for real. I'll put all the links in the show notes to like how they can find you guys and everything like that. But is there anything else you want them to know? When's the coffee shop open? Do you have any ideas?
We are opening it on May 1st in honor
May
of
1st?
in honor of Mental Health Month.
Sick.
So as we speak right now, somebody is in there doing some work on it.
Hey man, I'm excited. Next time I'm in Chicago, I'm gonna pull up. It's right by it's by the library.
What's
What's the address?
It's 3039 West Fullerton. It's in the Logan Square neighborhood. You can find it. It's real funny. We put ourselves up on Google Maps already.
Good.
And people just come through like looking for coffee.
Fuck.
And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. They're like, no, this is gonna be great. I can't wait. You know, so it's like you can build that little hype train. But everyone's welcome at Sip of Hope, man. It's gonna be fun. And I don't know. I think that, you know, the more that we choose to, you know, think and do differently, we will get people to act differently.
Perfect. Appreciate it, dog.
Hey, man.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Glad to finally meet you. This was dope. How do you want to end this?
I mean, I don't know, a trap song, you know? Nah, I mean, honestly, like, there's something about trap music that makes you just fucking get up, though. You're like, get it, you know? But, like, man, yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, dude.
All right, bye.
Yeah.
Bye. That's it for episode 25 with Johnny Boucher. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Make sure to follow Johnny and Hope for the Day on Instagram. Find them at hopefortheday.com. I share links and all that shit's in the show notes, bwnc.com/podcast. Leave a review on iTunes. Let me know what you loved about this interview. If you're interested in joining Black with No Cream, just go to bwnc.com/join. And last but not least, hit that merch button on the website and pick up some shit so I can keep this thing alive. Subscribe, do all that shit. New episode every single Sunday. See you next week, you bitch.